Welcome, Amalgamaniacs and Retroids, to the first edition of Retro Gamia of the year. I am joined by the entire cast and carry of Retroid Octopus, Parasite Steve, 8-Bit Alchemy, Boss Rushmode, and Nintendo 25. And we are going to be giving you a year look of all the games of 2019 that we want to give notable mention to, and talk a little bit about what we played, what we didn't play. And I got some questions for the fellas towards the end of the cast. And we also have some gifts and prizes for our members and viewers. So stick around, watch the show, let us know what you think. Gentlemen.
Yes.
I ain't seen you since last year.
It's been forever. A calendar page flipper of sorts.
It's good to be back. Thank you all for joining us. Steve, thanks for making it, coming through. Always a pleasure. 2019. Lots of games, lots of time.
Hell of a year. Hell of a year.
It really
games.
was.
Yeah.
Kind of hard to take it all into review. Like I said, there were so many games that came out on so many different platforms, but we will cover what we can to the best of our knowledge and what we have played. What do you guys think as far as best and the worst of 2019? We're going to kick that question around to everybody. We'll start with Boss Rushmode, go to Parasite Steve, 8-Bit Alchemy, and then Nintendo. Let me know what it is your favorite game of 2019 was and what your least favorite game of 2019 was. Go ahead, Boss.
All right, well, my favorite game of 2019 by far has to be the Resident Evil 2 remake. That game was just absolutely phenomenal. It's just such a faithful recreation, retelling of the original Resident Evil 2, but still feeling modern and fresh and still throwing a few twists and turns in there that you might not expect and doesn't feel out of place, in the Resident Evil pantheon. So,
and a lot of playable modes too. A lot of cool playable modes. I haven't gotten around to all of them yet, but I've seen a couple of dope ones on there. I don't know if you got to play any of the other.
I honestly only played like the single player campaign like maybe 5 times in a row.
Yeah.
So I didn't really.
That's it.
Yeah, you gotta get
all.
those playthroughs.
It should have only been 4, but silly me, I didn't do like the mode B the second time. I did it like another mode A or whatever. Like, oh wait a minute, duh. There's a scenario B. You dipshit.
And what was your worst for the year 2019, or least favorite?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I didn't really play a lot of bad games, thankfully. So, I mean, not that I played a ton of games. I mean, most of the games I played, actually, I was on a huge Resident Evil kick, so I played a whole bunch of Resident Evil games. Of course, I mean, I guess the least favorite game I played this year didn't come out this year, but it was one I played for the first time this year. Was it was one of the Resident Evil light gun games, not the first one, like the
Chronicles. Oh, Dead Aim.
Dark Side Chronicles, yeah.
Yeah, Dark Side Chronicles.
I haven't played that one.
I just did not like that game at all. I mean, I went through it. I finished it because I just had to, which is more than I can say for 7, which is my least favorite, or second least favorite of the year. But it was such a disappointment because everyone was touting it as like, oh, it was so much better than like the first one, like Chronicles, and I loved Chronicles. I thought it was super fun. And then I played. No, I'm getting the names mixed up. What's the first one? Oh my God, it was Dark Side
Umbrella Chronicles.
Umbrella, yeah, that's right.
Umbrella Chronicles.
They're both Chronicles.
They are both called Chronicles. Okay.
Yeah.
But I liked Umbrella Chronicles. I didn't like Dark Side Chronicles. And it's like because for some reason they say, hey, you're not really on a boat, but the camera's wiggling around like it's always on a boat on rough seas at all times, so deal with it. Like, I'd rather not.
Unnecessary camera shake. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It just literally ruined the game for me. And
That sucks.
It's like, I mean, the graphics were better.
Oh, sorry. Parasite Steve, you want to go with your best and least favorite?
Well, before I do that, I'll just hold up the Boss Rush Mode copy.
That's it. That's the only one in the world, too.
It's super rare.
It's amazing the game got so popular, even though I have the only copy.
You have the only Boss Rush Mode copy.
This is
that's the only Boss Rush Mode copy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I have not played that particular game yet, but I will.
Nice.
So I guess I I should preface this. I don't actually play that many games. Like I used to anyway, but like, I play a handful a year. I tend to play like the shorter indie games
Mm.
that are kind of in the retro style. Because
They fit into your life better.
What's that?
I said they like fit into your life better with like how much time you can actually, dedicate to gaming. Like small indie games are great for that.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So if there's a game, no matter how good it is, that is like 100-hour game, it's like I just won't start it. And that's unfortunately like what's stopping me from playing like Red Dead 2, because I love Red Dead 1 so much and I do want to play it so much, but I feel like I don't know how that's ever going to happen. So the games that I played that were like full long games this year are only 2, and I really liked them both. So just to mention, if we're going to mention like some honorable mentions later, I'll save some of the indie ones. But for like the big stuff, I played Shadow of the Tomb Raider, which is the 3rd in the trilogy.
For PlayStation 4.
For PlayStation 4.
Mm-hmm.
And that was fun. It was probably my least favorite of the trilogy. I really like the Tomb Raider games, the new ones, a lot.
Yeah, same here.
And
I haven't gotten to play the newer ones. Yeah, I played a little bit of the first one, but haven't played much of the other one. It looked great. I just haven't gotten a chance to really dive into it. Yeah, I heard great things about it.
I mean, they're really fun. The criticism I see comes from people that I tend to think are just jaded. Like they probably play everything, so maybe this isn't as impressive to them. I don't know. I don't really play as much, so I've never played the Uncharted games, so I don't know. But like I really, really love the first 2, and I would say that like if the first 2 are like 9s and 10s, this one's probably like 7. It's still really good. I still really liked it. I think that just the story was the most weird and not really all that good, and I don't know, but hey, it takes place in a totally different type of area. It's very Mayan, so everything's Mesoamerican and definitely has its own look and everything. It's a cool game. So I went through that. I had fun with that. And since I'm not going to mention a game I didn't like, the other big game that I went through was actually Resident Evil 7, and I loved it. So
awesome. I had a lot of fun playing through that one too.
Yeah, I went through that in a couple weeks, and the only reason I played it at all, because I've never played through any Resident Evil game in my life, is because I happened to get VR for my daughter for her birthday. She was like really, really wanting VR this year, and we're like, all right, well, it just so happened that the deal that I got the system on, like, it came with 5 games, and one of them was Resident Evil 7.
Nice. So you got the VR version.
Right. So I knew she wasn't going to be playing that anytime ever. So I'm like, oh, you know what? I own it. Whatever. I'll give it a shot. And I know Greg hated it, but I'm like, oh, well, try it out. And yeah, I mean, I thought it was great. I mean, it was fun. It was very atmospheric. And I mean, I honestly played it with the VR like only the first time, and it was kind of like, yeah, maybe I'm too old for this, because like, I don't know, the old tickers kind of like, maybe I don't need this much stress.
I was sitting there, and there was a serious jump scare that happened. Like there was like a person that popped out of a door or something, and Steve just like launched back and like hit his back against the coffee table. And I was like, oh shit, this is getting real. I'm like, there's no way I could do this at all. Like, no way.
Steve, let me ask a question. What was the worst part, other than of course the jump scares? What was the worst part about the atmospheric? Was it the tension from being chased around the house, or was it the creaks in the floor?
Well, I mean, I turned it on, and it was the first time I played VR. So, like, I didn't know what the game was like. I didn't know what to expect. I didn't know when the first thing was going to happen. I didn't know anything. So not knowing was the worst part. I like that, because honestly, like, once you get the rhythm of it all,
right,
it's fine. Like, you guys talked about in your Resident Evil Retro Gamia episode, and you, Ian, you were saying that like you were really bummed about how the enemies in the game were so lame, and there's just like 2 enemies pretty much.
Right, and they were just very repetitive. Like it was over and over again.
It's like, you know, the 2 kinds of molded, and then there's bugs, and that's pretty much everything. So it's like, yeah, you really kind of, it stops being scary pretty quick. But not knowing, like at the very beginning, what the hell is gonna happen was pretty damn scary. Like it really was, and it was really fun. Being able to like look around and actually see everything. I just felt like, you know, if I cared about pissing contests, sure I could do it, but like I prefer not to. It's fine.
Yeah, I ain't mad at you. That game was a little hard to play with the lights off and the creaking and the surround sound. It was a bit much even like that. So I can only imagine being immersed further. You know, a couple of times I heard a little something twice too much, and I was like, you know what?
Well, for me, the first game that I ever played in my life that I felt was like truly scary was Alien vs. Predator on the Atari Jaguar.
Okay.
And that game was freaky as hell because like there was no soundtrack. It's just ship sounds and noises and creaks, and like, you know, you'd hear like
small rivers. The small things of flowing water?
Yeah, of course.
Creeks and streams and brooks, meadows.
Exactly. Yep, that kind of creek, yep.
All right.
And there would be like, there would be creaks and squeaks and bleeps and sweeps and all this stuff, and you hear stuff, and you jump, and you're like, you turn around, and you know, because it's first person, so you turn around, and there's like an alien booking it at you. So I tend to be the most scared of the alien games. Like I am just such a junkie. But this was the second scariest game that I've played.
All right, awesome.
Alien
I'm glad it
Isolation.
rated on the scale. I'm glad you enjoyed it. It was an awesome game.
Yeah. Alien Isolation though, man, like that game is so
I'm gonna have to try that out. I've never played it before, so I'm definitely gonna have to try that out.
Oh my god. I mean, that friggin' alien, you can't fight it. So that's like, at least in this game, like you can fight the monsters and family. Like there's parts where you're supposed to not fight them, but anyway. So I enjoyed both of those games.
Awesome.
They were very different, but yeah. Those are the 2 long games I played.
Okay, thanks. 8-Bit.
What
Your
is
very
up?
best and your very least best games of 2019 and beyond.
All right. Oh my God, and beyond. Don't do that to me.
It just sounded good. I had to just throw it in there.
It's like Bed, Bath, and Beyond.
It starts to sound good until it gets to the end.
So there was a lot of really great games in 2019. It's super hard for me to narrow it down. But the one that I think I want to mention the most as a game that I just absolutely loved is a game called Blasphemous. And this game has pixel artwork. It's kind of like that Castlevania Symphony of the Night meets, Dark Souls sort of thing. And I mean, the graphics in this game are like the most incredibly well animated, like gorgeous pixel art you've ever seen. But then the thing that makes the game so great is that there is a lot to explore, and that the control is so it's so tight that the combat, the platforming, like dodging enemies and everything, it all feels fantastic. And the game is like, it's really gory. It's like, it actually takes place in it's like a very religious based like subject matter. So there's like a lot of, like church iconography and like stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, it is like an insanely brutal game as far as like gore goes. But like, if you're familiar with, Castlevania type games, which, I feel like for a while were considered very difficult games before Dark Souls came around and like took the difficulty crown away from video gaming. Like everyone says Dark Souls is now the hardest thing ever. I feel like if you're, familiar with any kind of 16-bit games, platformers, whatever, you'll feel right at home playing this game, and it is so worth your time. It's like $20, brand new. And I swear to God, I don't think I've ever been more like impressed with like an indie game that I was like kind of looking forward to, but I hadn't been waiting for it for years. Like I sort of just like remembered hearing about it, and then it came out and I picked it up and I loved it.
Awesome.
So
when video games in general start being referred to as Dark Souls hard, it took a crown and started like, it's mine now.
Yeah, and it's crazy because it's like Castlevania used to be like, oh, this is like Nintendo hard, but I feel like, I don't know, people don't make those comparisons anymore. But I
there's
definitely
not a lot of games like that anymore. But yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There is a difference.
Yeah, for sure. So I think like it's definitely doable. You can learn the moves of the bosses and stuff, but it's nothing on the level that you'd experience in like a Dark Souls or a Bloodborne. I think it's definitely like a step down from there. And yeah, it was fantastic. As far as games that were the least best,
right?
I would probably have to say Kingdom Hearts 3, actually, which sort of sucks to have to admit that, but it's definitely true. That like it was a series that I was in love with when I was younger, like when the first one came out in the early 2000s, and I enjoyed the entries in the series all across the years and everything. But everyone was looking forward to Kingdom Hearts 3 for so long. It was like, I mean, it was something crazy. Like I think 10 years had gone by between Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, it was a nice long break. Yeah, I remember.
You know what it was missing? It was missing a ridiculously long, like 8-word subtitle that made no sense.
No 358 over 2 days, or Birth by Sleep, or Dream Drop Distance, or any of that shit. No, Kingdom Hearts 3.
Patty whack, give a dog a bone.
Give a dong to Kingdom Hearts. The problem with Kingdom Hearts 3 for me was that it actually started out really strong. I thought that the first couple worlds were...
That's the worst.
I know.
I hate it.
So it was really great. The first few worlds were like thought out. There was a lot to do. There was exploration. And then once you get past the Toy Story world, you realize that they were just cranking out levels like crazy, and that none of them were actually very good or interesting. I think the only other one I remember really liking was the one from Frozen. But all the different levels were the most exciting thing about old Kingdom Hearts games. And a lot of these were either like rehashed from old things, so there wasn't enough new property. And then what new properties they did go to, I mean, they were visually great. The graphics are always amazing, but there was just no heart and soul in Kingdom Hearts.
Ooh, jeez.
It kind of felt hollow. It felt hollow, like Hollow Bastion.
Yeah, no. From playing the first one, I can only imagine, because I didn't play the third one for some reason. I never got around to it. I have it somewhere around here. I think my son may have it in his room, but I never got around to playing it. I played a little bit of the first couple of seconds of it just to see what it looked like, and never got around to finishing it. And I'm glad I didn't right now.
I mean, the one thing I'll say is I did have fun playing the game, because on a certain basic level it is just entertaining, but it was also just deeply disappointing in another way. And I will say that they're coming out with DLC for it that's gonna expand a lot on the story, and I am interested to see what happens further in the story. So I'm definitely gonna pick up the DLC. That being said, of it being my worst game of 2019, there was nothing technically wrong with it. It wasn't glitchy. It wasn't it was poorly put together. It was just, I don't know. After taking 10 years, it felt rushed.
Who makes that? Squaresoft makes that, right?
That's Square Enix, yeah.
Yeah,
Square Enix
they
made that one.
They have yet to churn out a bad looking and
looking and technically.
Right.
Actually,
they just don't make them.
The one thing I'll say that was excellent about Kingdom Hearts gameplay-wise is all the Kingdom Hearts games, there's a section where you can customize your own little spaceship with these Lego blocks, and you build them together and you go, fly around and do these little missions. So Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, it was kind of just a means of transportation from one place to another. Kingdom Hearts 3 literally turned that into an entire game that I would just play on its own. There was so much to do there. There was bosses, secret missions, all kinds of stuff. I think I spent probably 10 or 15 hours just playing the spaceship crap, and it was wicked fun. Like that stuff is
Yeah.
awesome still.
It was the
So, I don't
Final
know.
Fantasy 15 fishing of the game, would you say?
It was except I liked everything else about 15 too. Like 15 I have no beef with, but yeah, Kingdom Hearts was like, oh yeah, we have this stupid little side thing that's actually really good. I'm gonna play 20 hours of that.
Steve, we're gonna put a pin in that comparison. I like that. Yeah, we're gonna have to come back around to that. I like that right there. 15 compared to Kingdom Hearts, because I felt the same way about 15 as compared to the other Final Fantasies. Like it was good, but it just was missing something. I don't know.
But yeah, that's it for me.
All right, Nintendo, you are going to give us your best game of 2019 and then your least best game of 2019. Or you can do like Parasite Steve and give us your best and your best. If all you got is your best, we'll take it.
Oh no, I got best and worst for sure.
All right.
All right.
I know what the worst is.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So my best for 2019 has to be Xenoblade Chronicles 2: Torna, the Golden Country. I literally just finished this game over the weekend, and it is fan-freaking-tastic.
Congratulations.
It's one of those games where it has an auto battle system where your characters just like automatically attack people. You don't do anything. You can move around and shit, but you can also do like special attacks by hitting like one of the buttons at a certain time, and you can perform like this special move or whatever and make more damage or whatever. But it's really good. The story is really engaging, and I had a lot of fun with it. And after I completed the game, I was sad. It's one of those things where it's like you're so into the game and you don't want it to end, and it ends, and you're just like, fuck.
Yeah.
What do I do with my life now?
I'm having the same experience right now with Horizon Zero Dawn, actually.
Yeah, it's a really crappy feeling, and it's like, I mean, I started playing it again on New Game Plus just because I don't want to stop playing it. It's just really good.
That's how I felt about the original Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Like that's the DLC like expansion that I haven't played yet, but I really want to. But yeah, man, when Xenoblade Chronicles 2 was over, I was bumming. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this game's
Yeah,
way
that
too
one
good.
too. Yeah, the original version. Yeah, that way too. And same thing with Tales of Symphonia for the GameCube. When I finished that game, I was like, I don't want to play any more games. I just want to play this one.
Yeah.
Right. I
I
found my
can't do it.
game.
Right.
Man, only 120 hours? Oh.
You know what? Funny you say 120 hours because that's exactly how long I played that game for.
Get out of
I
here.
know. I was, I snuck in.
I loaded up your save file.
Yeah.
So
Boot it up.
How long has he been playing this game?
Awesome.
So my least favorite game of all time, or for 2019, this fucking piece of shit right here.
What is it?
Contra
Road Core.
Oh my god.
Contra Noir?
Trash. This game is fucking terrible.
So-
The only reason why I got it is because it's Contra, and holy shit, we got a brand fucking new Contra game in 2019. That's
Wow.
nuts in itself, right?
And you fucking love Contra.
And I fucking love Contra, right? And when I found out that it was going to be a twin stick shooter, I was kind of like turned off by it.
Right.
But I still wanted to play it.
Rightfully so.
And watching the trailer didn't help. Like, well, it looks like shit. It does. The
wow.
graphics are fucking terrible in this game. And
But it has the
Yeah.
sexual harassment panda.
yes, that's true.
It does.
Yeah, see right here.
What?
Sexual harassment.
Oh.
So yeah, I highly suggest not buying this piece of shit. Fucking garbage. Fucking
Where'd it
garbage.
go?
And there you
I
have
It
it.
tried.
doesn't matter where it went. It's fucking. It's
there you
Caught it. I'm
in
gonna put it right in the
abyss.
trash.
It's in the abyss. Actually, no, wait, it is in the trash. Like crap.
Yeah, that game sucked. It was
Well,
not fun.
one good
at
thing
all.
about this game, the one good thing I can say about this game is that I don't have it. And that's good.
That's the only good thing
That's
about
That's
something.
good.
That is something.
That is good.
Yeah, especially as a Contra fan, I'm really glad that you, because I haven't played it yet. Is that for the Switch?
Yes.
Okay.
And PS4 and everything.
Oh, so it did come out. I see. I didn't know that. And I'm glad
Yeah.
I didn't grab it because I'm a
Yeah,
huge
for
Contra
everything.
fan. I'd have been pissed to play a sucky Contra.
You know what's
Thanks for
crazy too is like the graphics are terrible on every version. It's not just the
Right.
Switch version that has like a lower, graphical, resolution
Fidelity,
or whatever. Like
Right.
even the PS4 version looks terrible. Like
Ooh,
I don't know what happened. They just like they were hyping it up like they put so much work into it, but then you see the final product and you're like, this looks atrocious. This is like very much worse than something you'd play on the PlayStation 2. Like the two Contra games we got on the PS2 were way better. And this game is like it basically just makes you play the same levels over and over again. It gives you like unnecessary amounts of loot that you have to sort through, and like you got to spend all these like currencies that are like really hard to come by to upgrade anything to make it actually strong. Otherwise, you're just ending up like shooting an enemy for like way too long. Like it's not fun. But they did that to try and give you stuff to upgrade rather than just making it like fun out the get-go. And like I don't know, like all the characters are really bad. Like
Yeah,
it's just
none of the characters
not
are very
good.
interesting. And one of my biggest gripes, besides the graphics, is the fact that your weapons overheat, and they overheat
Yeah.
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
And it takes some time for them to cool down. So you have to like dodge enemies and all that shit while your weapon's cooling off, and that's not Contra. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's
Contra
just
is running
it
good.
sounds horrible. I'm glad you guys said something about it because there's no way in hell I'm buying it. And
Don't even borrow it from anyone. Just
I just from what you're telling me, the graphics alone, like it's Contra. Like you can't do better than that. Like
right. I mean, graphics don't really mean anything as long as the game is fun for
right.
me. But yeah, this had graphics trash, controls were trash, everything about it was fucking garbage.
Wow.
Stay away from it.
Well, sorry to hear that, and also glad to hear that.
The cautionary tale.
Right, of Contra. For me, 2019, like all you guys pretty much said, it's a great year for a lot of great games. I think my favorite by far was Apex Legends.
Wow.
Okay.
I know, and I'm a big fan
Mr.
of,
Free to Play.
yeah, and it's a free game, and
Price is right.
I had right.
Come on down!
It was right up my price range. I love that, and also, I'm a big fan of first persons, and I played Titanfall 2, and I love that game. That was an awesome game. We had a short conversation about it during one of the other casts that we did, and loved playing it. Great game. And this was very reminiscent. A lot of the same weapons, a lot of the same mechanics, other than the wall run. And I had such a great time playing it. It got a little repetitive, and they changed the season up, and it made it better. But it gets better every time that they come out with a new season, and I'm interested to see where it goes from here. So that's been my default standard go-to for the entire year 2019. Apex, great game, love playing it. There's lots of alkalides, lots of weapons to customize and change, lots of badges to win and modes, and there's a ranked ranked players section where you can play players on the same level as you. There's it starts off as like a 3-man team, and you go out and last man standing, and you become the Apex Predator or whatever. Lots of great characters and abilities for the characters. It's awesome. I'm a big comic book guy. Everyone knows that. An anime guy, and a lot of the powers and abilities of these characters.
You see, I had no idea you were a comic book guy or anime guy.
Well, I'm a very private. Well, Nintendo, I am a very private and delicate man. So
Nintendo, the writing is literally on his wall.
We live under a rock here at Retro Redacted.
Clearly.
But so it was very reminiscent of comic book characters and just a lot of sci-fi stuff, and I loved it. So I recommend it. Play it if you're playing it with friends, it's more fun. If you're playing with like just randoms, it can get a little stale. But playing with friends, you'll have a great time murdering everyone.
I mean, if you do anything with random douchebags, it's less fun.
it's less fun. Yeah. That is a-
Random douchebags is never like my.
You want to know where your
That is a
douchebags
good-
are coming from.
That is exactly.
Right.
You at
I mean,
least
it's
be
gotta be-
familiar with your douchebags.
Yeah, you
Douchebags.
got to know.
Yeah, you got to know the douchebags. Like these guys are okay, but not just
Love the
random.
douchebag you know, right? Love the douche you know.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, 8-Bit Alchemy.
You're welcome for those words.
The ideas and words reflected here today do not necessarily.
They don't
they
not
might.
reflect our opinions, but they don't do reflect them.
They very well could.
Oh,
They
you guys
sometimes
are
might.
terrible. Oh my God, you're terrible and correct, and very correct.
Terribly correct. In fact.
Terribly correct. Yes, that is the best vernacular. And speaking of terribly,
We have the best vernaculars here at Retro Dark. All of
We're
them.
particular about our vernacular.
my worst, or well, I can't say my worst. I'll say I think I'm gonna go ahead and ride with Boss Rush on this one. I played a game I think from last year. I think it was the end of last year. Jump Force. I think it came out like right at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I know that one. Yeah.
And I was very excited to play this game because I'm also a huge anime guy too. And I was very disappointed in the story mode. It was a lot of fun because you got to play with all your favorite anime characters. And what's not awesome
so
about
this
that?
is like Shonen Jump.
Yeah, Shonen Jump. Yeah, the Jump Force game. Yep. And so it's all their different respective characters, like the big three. They had the guy from One Piece. They had Luffy. They had Goku, and they had what's the guy's name? Not Gon. I forget the guy's name. Suke.
Was it
Suke?
Naruto? Was Naruto in it?
Oh yeah, that's the other one. Yeah, Naruto. Naruto was one of the big threes. But they had Sasuke. They had everybody. They had all their respective characters in one game, and it was a lot of fun because of that. But I was very, very disappointed in the story mode, and just thought it could be a lot more. And I mean, you had the My Hero characters in there. You had the Bleach characters in there. You had all of the like top anime characters in a game, a fighting game. It just felt
Which should be awesome.
it very much so. Being that like, and if you look at just the name of playable characters, if you're an anime fan, you're gonna get the game just because you see who's in it. And I think that's where the lackluster kind of stops. Is because after that, the game, there's no real like story mode to it, and it's kind of like what the hell is going on, and it's really like all over the place, but in this little confined space at the same time. And it's just weird. It's just not like what I would have expected from there being like a jump from one verse to the next verse and fights and then winners and then you go to the next place or something. But it was just like really. Like somebody, like you just kind of threw it together. Like they said, oh, let's take all our characters, put it in the game, and everybody's gonna buy it, which probably happened. So, that would be my least favorite of 2019. Notable mentions, and I'm gonna go ahead and expand this for the last couple of years because I know, like Steve said, now we don't really get a lot of time to play all of the games, but we do play the games we like, and the ones that we get a chance to play, we definitely want to give a notable mention to. So same order. What were some of the more notable mentions, some of the games? And even if you want to go a little retro, if you're playing a retro game, you want to mention that you really went to in 2019 that you played a lot and had a lot of fun doing on the side. Let me know, starting with the boss.
All right. Well, two I'd like to mention. One, it was a game from 2012, but came out on consoles this year, was Torchlight 2, which I had a lot of fun playing. Very like a
Great
action RPG, very Diablo style, which actually Runic Games had a couple of founders that worked with Blizzard, which created Diablo, so there's a connection there. And I had a lot of fun playing that game. Obviously, sequel to Torchlight is another great game, which it was on the Xbox. Well, I played it on. I played both of them on Xbox One. I played the first one, I think, a year ago. But at the time, there was no Torchlight 2, so I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And then I think Nintendo 25 actually mentioned to me, oh yeah, Torchlight 2 is out on consoles. And I was like, oh, then immediately went to play it, and I loved it. And the second one I want to mention is Bloodstained, Ritual of the Night, really awesome game that came out this past year. The Kickstarter success of that was So and we've mentioned that game before in the past retro Gamia. So it's a really awesome Castlevania Symphony of the Night style game. From basically the director, like the guy Iga, who created or was like the director of Symphony of the Night, and very.
I actually have that game in my
awesome.
cart because of you guys after doing that cast, and I went and checked it out like just to see, and I was like, yeah, I gotta have this thing. So it's in my cart. I'm actually gonna grab it hopefully for my birthday this month. So
there you go.
I can't wait to try it out.
Super awesome, fun game. I enjoyed it a lot, so I definitely recommend it for anyone who liked those, Metroidvania style games. This will be right up your alley.
Yep.
All right.
Absolutely.
Notable mentions: Parasite, Steve.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say Bloodstained as well. Bloodstained was an awesome game. Had a lot of fun with it. Ritual of the Night. Also the NES wannabe, which came out before it, but Curse of the Moon. Both of those games are ridiculously awesome. Had a lot of fun. I played Curse of the Moon when it came out the year 18, but Ritual of the Night, I played the crap out of this summer. So that was really, really fun. Another awesome indie style, retro style indie game I was actually waiting for quite some time. It's called Blazing Chrome. And for those of you who are a fan of the Contra series,
play that one.
This is
Play that.
Play that one.
This one didn't create controversy.
Yeah. This is like the best Contra game ever is Blazing Chrome.
Boss, you almost got my screen.
It's kind of done simulating the Genesis more than the Super Nintendo. And specifically like the sound of it sounds like the Genesis sound chip. In other words, it sounds like shit on purpose. Like it's just part of the charm of it. Like Joe always made fun of the Hyperstone heist into the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They'd always be like, let's get shit. They just sound like such shit on the Genesis.
That was the most horrible. I don't know. Thank you for bringing that up. That had to have been like one of the most horrible renditions of a character from video game to. I was like,
were lacking big time.
Yeah.
So
there were no voice actors available anywhere to do anything. Like a hi-ya.
I mean, the sound chip was just inferior on the Genesis. It was like digitized sound. The Super Nintendo had a totally different technology, and like it definitely, obviously, both systems didn't do a lot of talking, but it was better on the Super Nintendo. But anyway, so yeah, if you're a fan at all of Contra, check out Blazing Chrome. It just came out this year. Well, I should say in 2019. And it's from this company, Joy Masher, who is a Brazilian company, and they're like one of my favorite indie developers right now. They've made 3 games so far, and I absolutely adore them all. The other 2 are Oniken and Odalis the Dark Call. I love Odalis the Dark Call. The problem is the best versions of both of those games are just for Steam. You can get them for some of the other systems, but I guess when they ported it, they didn't do a good job, and a lot of people say like the frame rate's really bad and stuff, and it's just unfortunate that it's not a one-to-one conversion for those.
PC Master Race is like only 275,000 frames per second, unplayable.
Right.
Well, that is funny. People do complain about shit like that. But one more game I'll mention is a game I played. It was the first game I played in 2019, and it is an indie game, and it's called Time Spinner. And it's a really fun game. It really looks like a sort of like either late gen Super Nintendo or like early PlayStation 1 sprite game like Symphony of the Night or something like that.
Okay.
It's a very charming game. You control this anime looking girl. It's kind of cutesy. But you can change time periods, which kind of just the way the game works, it just sort of feels like a warp room, really. You kind of you have your established levels and stuff that you can kind of warp between, but it's like switching time periods, and she has like a really, really fun attack mechanic that I think is really the standout feature of the game, where she always has 2 orbs kind of circling around her in like a figure 8 pattern at all times, and whenever you press the attack button, it will fire forward. But it really is very specific, like where it is in the rotation around you, like it matters. So I don't know, it just feels good. It's really a different sort of attack. And the other neat thing is, just like in Symphony of the Night, where Alucard had a left and a right hand,
Mhm.
she has the same thing. So she has left and right orbs. So you can equip two at once, and they don't have to be the same one. So like you can have a fire and an ice one, or there's all different ones. There's all different various things you get as you go. And
You can have one be like a ranged weapon, one of them be like close quarters or whatever.
Mhm.
Nice.
And some of them are like, some of them were like bladed weapons. Like you'd get a sword orb, and it would kind of be like a sword slash. A sword would actually appear and slash. So if that's what you want,
Swarb.
yeah.
Swarb.
But and you could upgrade them, and they would get stronger and better and bigger and look different as you used them and stuff. It was fun. I really enjoyed that game.
Yeah, I played it and I enjoyed it too. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, so I mean, I definitely think those are my favorite indie games that I played this year. And just real quick shout out to the final bit of Shovel Knight finally came out this year, just about a month ago. And if you were a person who purchased the Shovel Knight Treasure Trove, as I did, 3-4 years ago, whenever it was, and I paid my $25, I now have my fourth full new game, which is King Knight, because what they did is with the Kickstarter money, they're like, oh, we'll make 3 bosses playable. And everybody's like, okay, so that just means you're going to make the character playable in this game. What they actually did was essentially make 3 new games. They used some of the same tiles, some of the same music for some levels, but even when you went to a level that you already have been to in one of the other games, it's like invariably very, very different. They use the same
wow.
stuff, but it's absolutely insane. For $25, I do not think there has ever been a better value in video games, period. Like they're just
I agree.
It's 4
Yeah.
full games. They all feel different. Every single character plays different, and the game is fully tooled around that character's abilities. And the final one just came out, which is King Knight, and that came packaged with a showdown mode, which is not great, but it's still fun, where they let you be the other bosses in sort of a pseudo Smash Brothers kind of scenario. It's fun, whatever. Hey, a lot of unlockable characters. You can unlock a lot of bosses, NPCs, and even enemies to play as just in that mode. But as far as the main game goes, like you get Shovel Knight, Plague Knight, Spectre Knight, and now King Knight, and they are all completely unique games. $25, and that's not on sale. So if you can find it on sale, it's just the best deal ever. Those games are, I think, to this day, like the best indie games probably that have ever come out. I just can't say enough good stuff about them. So that's pretty cool. I'm done.
Right. Awesome. 8-Bit, notable mentions. What kept you gaming in 2019?
Okay, so I'd say that the biggest notable mention for me has to be the expansion to Monster Hunter World. So for those of you who are unfamiliar, Monster Hunter World had come out, I think in 2017, 2018. But it's like one of the long-running series that Capcom's been making for a long time, the Monster Hunter games. And the one that they came out with on like the current generation of consoles is Monster Hunter World. And it did a lot to make the series more approachable. It took away a lot of like the unnecessarily like hardcore elements of like, really strict item management and things like that. It made the control schemes easier. It just did a lot to help bring people into the games, including myself. I had never really played them before. And so basically you're just like going on hunts, taking down these like incredibly like well-designed, amazing monsters and stuff. And you end up taking like quite a lot of the parts from them. And hi, Mom. How's it going? You're on camera.
I'm sorry. Hi.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, Mom.
Oh, hey, Joe. They found the girl.
That's good. We're recording. Bye.
It is
So
awesome.
cute.
They found the
Take
girl.
two.
Still keeping that. Still keeping that. Got to.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. They
Keep
found the
that.
girl from Springfield.
Yeah, the girl from Springfield. We went missing today. She was 11 years old, but I guess.
Oh
they
my
found her.
God.
Yeah, she was on
Wow.
the Mass Pike.
Oh, jeez.
That's where they found her.
And she's fine. Everything's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Good. Oh,
Oh, that took a
Great
180
news.
real quick.
well, that's definitely worth the interruption. Thanks,
Yeah.
Mark.
Yeah, thanks,
Thanks.
Mom, for the update. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, back on track. Monster Hunter World is good. It's a good game.
Okay.
And I played like over 100 hours of the original and didn't run out of stuff to do. And then they came out with this year. They came out with an expansion that was called Iceborn, and like I was expecting it to be just like a DLC that maybe added like one
It was
new
called
level.
Ice porn?
Yeah, it's about naked ice snowmen.
What?
Yeah,
That sounds really good.
yeah, it is really good. Let me tell you about it.
Yes.
I'll tell you all about the ice porn. Yeah, so I don't know. It's basically like I thought the DLC would be like one level, a couple new monsters, and that was it. And it ended up being like legitimately twice as much content as you had in the original game. It's like insane. I've never had a DLC that I felt was worth buying this much if you like the original. Like it adds so many monsters. The new place that they add is really significant, and it just there's a lot of new weapons, a lot of new armors and stuff. And honestly, like a lot of people talk about like what game could potentially be their forever game that like there's just always content to come back to. And a lot of people, that's why they're into like, you know, MMOs, because they're like persistent online experiences. But I feel like Monster Hunter World is giving you that amount of content without charging you any kind of monthly fee. Like you just buy the game, the servers work really well. Everything that's in the game is there, you know, to stay. You don't have to worry about like, you know, having a group of people or like anything that's like limited time. There's like special events and stuff, but honestly, like it is such a good game, and that expansion is like insane. It's so freaking good. Definitely if you're interested in them at all, and you play through the original game and still want more, Iceborn's great. Other notable mention, I would say there is a indie game that came out called Indivisible, and it's made by the people who made Skullgirls. I don't know if you know that fighting game. It's like an anime style fighting game that came out a while back.
Like Dead or Alive?
It's 2D. It's more
Okay.
like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Nice.
So this game Indivisible is the gameplay is a lot like Valkyrie Profile. So that game is it's a turn-based role-playing game, but all of the exploration is done like a 2D platformer. Like you explore, you know, horizontally. There's like jumping puzzles. There's a lot of different platforming that you have to figure out. And then the combat system is very unique, where when you get into a battle, you have 4 party members, and each one of them is assigned to like one of the face buttons on like the PlayStation. So you'd have X, square, triangle, circle. Yeah. And so it's actually almost like a fighting game, because when you hit the face button, that character is going to like dash forward, do their attack, and they might knock an enemy into the air. And then you got to figure out like who else you want to call in to then continue the combo and keep it going as much as possible. And like if you juggle an enemy better, you'll get more experience, more items, whatever. So this game Indivisible was going after that Valkyrie Profile thing. And I mean, I will be honest, I bought the game. I haven't gotten a chance to actually start playing it, but I played a lot of like the demo that was out before the game came out, and it was amazing. And honestly, like I know that the final product, for what people have been saying, is really good. So I'd say that's one to put on your radar for sure.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds great. Like especially the 2D platformer. I want to just see what it looks like.
It definitely is a neat original kind of thing. But yeah, that's it.
All right, Nintendo.
All right. One of my picks would be Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3.
Oh yeah, I've heard lots of good
This
things.
one, it's really good. I really enjoyed this one. Although I didn't quite connect to it like I did with my favorite game of 2019. Yeah, it's really cool. I enjoyed it. It's not a very long game. It's kind of like Diablo-ish, but it's not like top down like the older games are. It's
Okay.
the cameras are different in this one. And a lot of people were complaining about the whole camera angles and all that stuff. But I didn't have any issues with it at all. So yeah, that's a good game. You guys should check that out. And
Okay.
this one game I was really looking forward to once I found out that they were going to remaster and rebuild this game, and that is Ninja Saviors, Return
yes.
of the Warriors. This game is fucking fantastic. It's a remake of Ninja Warriors for the Super Nintendo.
Ah.
And it's a side-scrolling game, and you play as robots, and they all play differently. They all look fantastic. The music and animation, everything about this game is amazing. I love it so much. And what's cool about this is that not only did they upgrade the graphics and music, they added 2 brand new characters, and unfortunately they suck, but they look cool. Especially the bigger robot, which he takes up the entire screen. His name is Raiden. Very original name, by the way. Yeah, awesome game. If you haven't played it, get it, play it, love it. You'll thank me for it later.
Awesome. For me, I think the best notable mentions I got are Mortal Kombat 11. It wasn't spectacular. Wasn't that much different than 10 or 11. Wasn't that much different than 10. A lot of awesome playable characters, but I love the customizations. Definitely something I would recommend if you like fighters. Check it out. And what kept me gaming throughout 2019, I have been like on pins and needles wanting the next installment of God and War. Just like, I don't know why these people are torturing us the way that they are, but I'm ready. And I think that we all deserve it. Boss deserves it. I deserve it.
We all deserve it.
You know?
We all deserve some more boy.
War.
Like it was just an awesome game. Like, I don't know. I'm just give me more. So please, the makers of God of War, if you're listening.
Was it Sony or Santa Monica Studios, or was it?
Right. Seb, can you help brother out, please?
Make it happen.
That's who it was.
And
that's who it was.
I think that's it for my notable mentions. I'm just gonna go with Mortal Kombat. I mean, so many great games that came out.
I'd like to mention one more game real quick, actually, that I came out this year. The Untitled Goose Game. I played that on my Xbox Game Pass. The Untitled Goose Game.
Okay.
Nice.
I don't know. I found myself playing that for a couple hours, and it's just silly fun. It's super lighthearted, and any game that lets you be an asshole without any dire consequences is right up my alley, as far as I'm concerned. And you get to trap a kid in a phone booth as the goose. So I'm all for it.
Just general goose dickery.
Yes, absolutely.
Real quick before we sign off and give our final question, if we can get through it. Do not forget that we are giving away a plug and play Double Dragon.
Nice.
Sweet.
So please let us know what you think of the cast, what some of your favorite games of 2019 are, and we will pick a random winner. And we also have up for grabs for our first prize of the year. We got a couple of retro buddies, little fluffies for you guys. Mario and the boys, Toadstool, Mario and Luigi,
Nice.
and
Look
a
at
nice
the
Mario
boys.
box. Courtesy of the guys from Retro Octopus and us Amalgamaniacs at Amalgamania. Check it out. Let us know what you think of the cast. Let us know what your favorite games are. We'll pick some winners and you guys will get some nice prizes. Final question. The lightning round, the $64,000 question. Real quick, do you guys have any tips, tricks, strategies going forward for the gamers going forward? We'll start with Boss Rush and go to Parasite Steve, then 8-Bit Alchemy, then Nintendo.
I guess I don't really have a lot of useful tips or tricks, but another game I played recently wasn't released this past year, but Horizon Zero Dawn. Taking out a lot of the big enemies, especially in like corrupted areas, I found that the higher ground you can get, like even like if you can be on top of a sheer cliff and fire down on your enemies where they can barely even see you or attack you, do that. I've cleared a lot of areas that way, just finding the highest ground possible and just raining hell down on them instead of just trying to like get on their same level and having them like run me over literally. So
Rain down hell.
yeah, rain
Parasite
down
Steve,
hell.
got anything for the viewers?
Not really specifically. You guys mentioned this on the Resident Evil episode of Retro Gamia, but I'll just reiterate: if you are playing Resident Evil 7 and you're trying to conserve your ammo, if you get face to face with some monsters, because they do like to throw a bunch of those guys like in a room. You definitely don't need to kill them all. Like you can either run past them, or if you can duck into another room and they just don't follow you. They'll literally like stand there and look at you, and then you kind of give it a few seconds and they sort of reset in that room, and he won't even be like right outside the door anymore. So like use that to your advantage, I guess.
There you go. 8-bit.
For Blasphemous, I would say that the one thing I wish I knew going into it is there are a bunch of branching pathways, and you're going to end up having a lot of choices that you're not sure which one to do first. Do the ice area as early as you can find it, because there's actually a significant missable quest that you can't do if you tackle the ice area later in the game, and it'll lock you out from getting a handful of trophies and some items that are actually pretty cool.
Out.
Okay.
It'll ice you out.
Nintendo?
Yeah, nothing crazy. When you're playing like games like Xenoblade Chronicles or Marvel Ultimate Alliance, you can change the difficulty on the fly. Like if an area is too tough and you're not quite powerful enough, or you just can't figure out how to beat a boss or whatever, you can just switch the difficulty on the fly, and you're fine.
All right. Real quick, tips and tricks for me is a game that I actually forgot to mention. But Jedi The Fallen Order, Return of the Jedi, or Star Wars The Fallen Order. Awesome game, just came out. Didn't want to give it the notable mention spot because it literally just came out and I haven't played all the way through, and it is not like me or the gentleman on the show to give you information to something that we do not know at least enough about, so I don't want to put it on a scale. So at the very least, I will say so far it's a lot of fun, and stay away from giant bats. And it's like I said, you're a Jedi in it, so you're gonna have a lot of fun. Just stick to the Star Wars principles, and I'm sure you'll enjoy playing the game. So that's my little hint and tip for games that if you're playing new ones, try out Fallen Order and definitely stay away from giant bats. And
Contra Rokor.
May the Force be with you.
Yeah.
Remember the way of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And that does it for our show. Thank you, Retro Gents, for joining us. And shout out to all you Retroids out there watching, and Amalgamaniacs as well. And we will see you guys.
I have something I'd like to promote.
Oh, please, if you can.
Well, I'd like to promote this brand new awesome podcast that I listened to today. I'm not on it, but it's pretty cool. It's called The Retro Files, and it's pretty neat. This dude. And this dude is really, really handsome voice, and he's talking about some like creepy stuff. The first episode is whether or not there's life after death and what you believe in. It gets all ethereal and shit. And Miss Shelby Croto maybe possibly involved as well. No, it's not Shelby. It's
Jordan Lynn Epperson.
Jordan Lynn.
Right.
And it was pretty awesome. So you guys should definitely check that out.
Please.
Sounds badass.
The Amalga Files on the Dorkening Network, and
That's
if
right.
you want, please check it out. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. Like you said, the gentleman's voice is
Very
deep
handsome.
and soothing.
I didn't say soothing. I said handsome. There's a difference.
Those are handsome.
Actually,
It just sounds handsome.
I'll just add soothing as my own comment. But definitely check it out, and thanks for that. We appreciate it. And actually, there's going to be a lot of
with that show, and with us in 2020, Retro Octopus, we're all on the Dorkening now, which is pretty.
You guys are on
pretty
Dorkening
awesome.
now as well, which you can get on. I think there's outlets to Spotify, iTunes, all over the podcasting circuit, there's ways to get in touch and get a hold of us, and you will definitely get links in the comments down below to all of those awesome shows on the Dorkening Network with those retro gents and with me and Jordan Lynn Epperson. So definitely give it a listen. Thank you so much, Steve, for plugging that. Good catch.
Anytime, my man.
All right, and we will see you on the next Retro Gaming, where me and the Retro Gents will be taking you down Bruiser's Alley. We're gonna be doing the fighters. So if you want to fight about it, you're gonna be around for the next show.
At
We'll
us.
be doing all the fighters. So
50,000? You got 50,000 on Double Dragon?
it's gonna be awesome. So please check us out and bring your fisticuffs with you. We're gonna be going over some awesome fighting games, retro and new, and we will see you guys there. Till then, thanks for joining us, and let us know in the comments what you think of the cast. And don't forget the awesome prizes, and we appreciate you guys viewing. We'll see you soon on the next episode.